Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today, we're discussing a limited edition of 1,000 pieces from 2018, part of Grand Seiko's 20th anniversary celebration of the 9S Mechanical Movement Series. This is the Grand Seiko GMT SBGM235 from the Elegance collection. This is a timepiece that features a spectacular MOSAIC dial, references to history within and without, and the highest grade of hand finishing, again, inside and out. There's a lot to say about this 39.5 millimeter diameter steel watch. So 39.5 in diameter, 14 millimeters thick, 46.9 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip. It has a vintage inspired 19 millimeter spacing between the lugs. This 2018 1,000 piece limited edition has been featured on the channel using several different straps. And every time I have a different strap, I shoot a video because it's a different watch with a different strap. It really does change the character. One thing that doesn't change is the ergonomics. Being under 47 millimeters from lug to lug means that this is a viable option for men and for women. You can see the lugs are nowhere near the edge of my wrist, and you can really tell that over the top as well as down the barrel. And while the watch is not particularly thin, it does have a generously sloped case flank, so it will slide fairly easily underneath the dress cuff. This strap, I must emphasize to you that it is as authentic as it is distinctive. This wonderful sort of gradient from blue-gray to off-white is crafted by Grand Seiko itself. So blue calfskin on the bottom, large rectangular scale alligator leather on the top. We've got a contrasting stitch, a folded edge, a little bit of bolstering to add volume. And you can see this is a brand new Grand Seiko factory strap, no crimping or gouging. One of the odd qualities of Grand Seiko factory straps, even an alligator, is that they are buttery smooth and soft even when new before being broken in. We have here the vintage Grand Seiko logo on the deployant clasp. A lot of these Elegance series watches are inspired by the original 1960 Grand Seiko 3180. So they use the vintage logo and the vintage case shape, but they also usually use a pin buckle with the vintage logo. So to get a folding clasp here, this is an upscale edition befitting a special series watch. You can see it's branded inside, polishing and chiseling outside. Twin trigger release, so you must press both triggers to pop open the clasp. And you can see there's a little minder or strap guide with a combination of polish and satin to differentiate. The case shape is redolent of 1960. This isn't a 62 GS, it isn't a 44 GS, it isn't a 9S. It's a very simple mid-20th century form, a round case, straight lugs projecting directly out. If you look very carefully, you can see there's a bit of a beveled contour on the side of the lugs. We have rounded case flank, we have a vertical lip to the bezel, and then a conical section that runs up against a dramatically cambered and boxed sapphire that is designed to evoke a vintage plexiglass. We've got a vintage style logo on the crown, and this is a black polished hand finished case using the manual tin plate polishing system that Grand Seiko calls Zaratsu polish. Now that's just the Japanese word for Zalitz machine polishing, and those machines are of European origin, but today it takes 3 years to learn this craft, and the foremost practitioners of this laborious craft are the folks at Seiko and Grand Seiko today, and this hand-finished case sets it apart from comparably priced Swiss products, which are invariably machine-finished. Now you can see Grand Seiko still expects you to swap straps, so they still include strap tool holes on the flanks of the lugs. The dial, I mentioned this watch was hand-finished within and without. Let's talk first about the dial base, a spectacular spiral mosaic pattern that is a tribute to Seiko, Grand Seiko, and Danai Sakosha, which is one of the predecessor companies to the modern Grand Seiko watch operation. Much like the independent divisions of General Motors during the 20th century, Seiko actually had competing sub-brands that operated almost entirely independent with their own manufacturing operations, engineering teams, and budgets. And so they competed against each other. Danai Sakosha was one of those constituent companies of the larger group. And so you can actually see, if you look closely, its logo on this mosaic style dial. Now, what else is impressive here is that all of the hands, the logo, the frame for the date, the indices, these These parts are finished using diamond-tipped milling tools by artisans who manually hold them in place and work on these tiny components all day long. To do this, it's got to be your full-time gig. It's incredibly difficult to achieve regularity and precision, and you can see the mirror finish as well as the razor-like narrow facets. Absolutely stunning. The final stage is to place the pieces on the dial, and with the logo, the window, and the indices, actually caulk them in place manually. So a very, very special dial, handcrafted, and a lovely nod to history. We have here a combination of silver, silver white, and blue. It is a GMT with a blue GMT hand. Now, if you want to set your local time, you can do that. You can move the local hour hand. You can jump the date forward and backwards. If you're traveling east or west, it doesn't matter. Doesn't budge the minute hand, doesn't touch the second time zone, doesn't even stop the seconds hand. But if you pull the crown out all the way, now we activate hacking or stop seconds. You set everything in sync. So what you do is you first set your 24-hour hand. Here you can see the 24-hour hand is set to 4 a.m. So that's how that works, because it has this inner circle with little blue numerals in a 24-hour format. That hand makes one circuit around the dial every 24 hours. Now I can set my local hour, and I'm going to set my local hour to 4 a.m. So now they are both set to 4 a.m. Okay, beautifully finished case, beautifully finished dial, 1,000-piece limited edition, and Grand Seiko wants you to remember that the first 9S modern mechanical caliber came out in 1998. This watch was part of the 20th anniversary series. You can see individual numbering at the base, and then the movement that sits inside, the 9S66 automatic winding, 3-day power reserve, 12 and 24-hour independent time zones, hacking seconds. You combine the 35 joule movement, the 4 hertz beat rate, the 6-position adjustment, and by the way, 6 positions is one more than a standard chronometer. And Grand Seiko recommends that you expect during a 24-hour static test, a COSC style test. This watch will keep time to no worse than -3 + 5 seconds a day. Impressive, because COSC chronometer is a 5-position test that allows -4 + 6 seconds per day. And then all of this is 30 meters water resistant, as it is a dress watch. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of this 9S 20th anniversary Grand Seiko GMT SBGM235.